The Daily Mail is reporting on a potential royal return for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, with the newspaper claiming that King Charles is behind this. He might be, but let me tell you, the British public certainly isn't. The report comes from the newspaper's highly regarded diary editor, Richard Eden, who writes, "Tonight, palace sources have made clear to me that Sophie, as in Sophie the Duchess of Wessex, and her husband Prince Edward could point the way for Harry and Meghan to return to royal duties. Courtiers are increasingly convinced that Harry wants to resume his old way of life when he felt he was using his privileged position to make a difference for worthwhile causes. One source told him Harry's heart is not in the TV stuff. Anyone can see that." Then, a courtier, so this is actually a courtier working for the royal family right now, tells Richard Eden if the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are prepared to give up their private work and return to royal life, they would be welcome back. Certainly as long as King Charles is monarch. Eden writes, "Therein lies a warning to the Sussexes. Prince William is unlikely to be as forgiving as his father, and given Harry and Meghan's disgraceful attacks on the Princess of Wales in particular, I can fully understand why." Wow, let me bring in royal YouTube sensation according to Taz. So, look, firstly, William and Catherine would have something to say about this, and I imagine, Tash, so would Camilla. So would Queen Camilla, who is no fan of Harry, doesn't want her husband to be around Harry whatsoever. But we can't just immediately dismiss this, can we? Given this is a courtier speaking directly to the Daily Mail, suggesting that the king would welcome Harry and Meghan back, as long as they gave up their private work, which is something that Harry already wants to do.
King Charles is reportedly considering allowing Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to return to royal life. That's right. The couple that spent years trashing the monarchy, attacking their own family, and painting Britain as some oppressive nightmare may actually be given a second chance. Now, I don't know about you, but this is one of the most insane things I've heard in a long time. Let's break it down. What's the catch? Apparently, King Charles would allow Harry and Meghan to return, but only if they give up their Netflix, Spotify, and Hollywood deals. Really? His heart isn't in it anymore? Well, let me tell you why, folks, because it's all falling apart. Netflix doesn't want them. Spotify called them grifters. Their Hollywood deals? Crashing and burning. So now Harry wants a lifeboat. And what better lifeboat than crawling back to the royal family?
There's so many things, Dan, that's speculative about that entire article. I mean, I know that they've quoted a courtier, which obviously they're not going to give away who said what. You know, you don't reveal your sources, but I find this a real tough pill to swallow on this one. To bring up the Duchess of Edinburgh as well, Sophie, to say that because of basically her and Edward, because they were previously involved with a TV production company, that all went wrong many years ago. To say that if you read into it, that because they managed to turn it around and they are now, you know, senior working royals, very well respected, that Harry and Meghan can do the same. There is a very big difference. Sophie and Edward, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, tried to make it work. It didn't work. They gave it up to dedicate their life to service and duty. Harry and Meghan decided that they didn't like service and duty and gave it all up to go earn money. And as for Charles, I'm sorry, Dan, I just do not believe that for 1 second, because of the continuous attacks that Harry has directed towards Queen Camilla at such a precarious time, with the king finally taking the throne after many years and a long life by his mother, and then Harry decides to basically attack everything from the Queen's legacy to the Prince William to Catherine, and of course the evil stepmother as he portrayed Queen Camilla. So I do not believe that Charles would be that forgiving. I'm not sure I believe this article at all.
But Tash, I just wonder if maybe we are slightly out of step with where King Charles is on Harry, because look, I know the Daily Mail in recent months has certainly been playing a game when it comes to Meghan and Harry. They want them on side, they want the legal action dropped, and on lots of occasions, they've been doing lots of shilling on behalf of Harry and Meghan. As someone who used to be a columnist for the Daily Mail, I find it repulsive. I can't believe that they have turned in that way. But Richard Eden is not going to quote a courtier if a courtier hadn't told him this. Now, let's use a process of elimination. This is certainly not a courtier that is working for William and Catherine, which means the only household this will have come from is Buckingham Palace.
It's obvious, as you said, with Richard Eden, he's, a respected royal reporter, and I don't think that he's made this up. I didn't mean to come across like I was
because also,
that.
even though the Mail has turned, sorry to interrupt, Tash, but I think it's really important I point out, even though the Mail has turned, Eden himself is no fan of Harry and Meghan whatsoever. He doesn't like those two. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to point that out.
No, that's fine, Dan. I do obviously think that Charles would like to repair the relationship as father and son, but I cannot see that Charles would risk his reign and the public backlash by expecting the public to accept Harry and Meghan back in any sort of working role, that they should be welcomed back with open arms. That's the bit that I struggle with. I mean, I do believe that Charles would obviously like to have his son back in his life, but that should be more on a personal level. To bring him back as in a job and as part of the working members of the royal family, that's a whole different kettle of fish.
Now here's the thing, folks. King Charles might be open to this, but the British people, they're not having it. After everything Meghan and Harry have done, the Oprah interview, the Netflix documentary, the book Spare, they expect the British public to just forget. Do these two have any self-awareness? They spent the last 4 years playing the victims, calling the royal family racist, trashing the UK at every opportunity, and now they want to waltz back in like nothing happened? Absolutely not. Let's be honest. This isn't about duty, it's about money. They thought they could succeed on their own. They thought they could become A-list Hollywood elites, commanding millions with their brand. But guess what? The brand has failed. Now they want back in because it's their only way to stay relevant. Now here's where it gets even better. King Charles might be open to this nonsense, but Prince William, Camilla, they want nothing to do with it. And honestly, who can blame them? Let's not forget, Harry bashed his own brother in his memoir, accusing him of attacking him. He tried to humiliate his own family on a global scale, and now we're supposed to believe that William is just going to forgive and forget? Not a chance. And Queen Camilla? She reportedly does not want Harry anywhere near King Charles. She knows Harry is a liability. He and Meghan cannot be trusted. Imagine the royal family letting them back in, and a month later, another tell-all book drops. That's the risk they would be taking.
Do you think Tash, Charles is potentially preparing for a post-divorce plan? Because in reality, you might have a different feeling, but I see, and from my reporting, I hear absolutely no desire for Meghan to give up her commercial work, which would make this a non-starter.
Yes, it does seem to be more centred around Harry. There could be, I don't know, there seems to be a lot of speculation going around about their marriage at the moment. I think those two are adding fuel to the fire by doing so many separate engagements. I mean, obviously they are a family at the end of the day. If you take away the fact that they are a royal family, I'm sure that if Harry really came back with the tail between his legs and said, "Dad, I need help," obviously as a family, you do tend to put things aside and you look out for each other. But I still, again, I do struggle with this story, Dan, just because there have been so many bridges burnt. Harry has been so toxic towards his family. And again, with Queen Camilla, I'm sure she wouldn't want that stress around the king, especially with his ongoing cancer treatment. So this article had blindsided me a bit, in all honesty. So I'm not quite sure what to make of it.
I'm so shocked as well. I mean, I really am. But I do worry that there is a softening. But the key critical point, it's very difficult to talk about because everyone wants to hold out lots of hope for King Charles. But Lady Colin Campbell on this show 2 weeks ago described his cancer as incurable. I do think, Tash, when you go through something like that, of course you're probably thinking, is there a way? Is there a way that all of this negativity can be put to one side? But I think the person we really have to think about this most is Prince William. And Prince William is loving life at the moment. Catherine's doing better. You've seen him this week out in the army uniform, and he's a heartthrob again. And I can't see how Charles would square this with William.
No, I mean, there's there's so much that's happened. There's so many different attacks that Harry's done to his father, to Queen Camilla, to Prince William, and then, of course, to the Princess of Wales. So I can't see, if Charles does want to make amends with his youngest son, that he can force William to accept that. I mean, I don't like to think of it, and I hope the speculation is wrong to do with the king. I hope he's around for many, many more years. But obviously, if he is concerned about how long he's going to be king and how long that he is going to remain healthy enough to want to repair your relationship with your children, I think is quite natural. But that's got to be between him and Harry, and I don't think that he can force anything on William. William and Catherine are the future heirs to the throne. Well, Prince William is, obviously. Catherine will be Queen Consort, the same as Queen Camilla. And I just cannot see that William is going to be forgiven regardless.
Now let's talk about the real reason Harry suddenly wants back in. It's not about duty. It's not about service. It's because his career is completely dead. First, Spotify called them grifters and cut ties. Then Netflix reportedly lost interest after Heart of Invictus flopped. Hollywood doesn't want them anymore. They were supposed to be the next big thing, and now? They're just another D-list celebrity couple struggling to stay relevant. And here's the biggest clue. Meghan is already preparing to go solo. There are rumors she's planning to relaunch her blog, start a new brand, maybe even distance herself from Harry. Folks, the writing is on the wall. She's setting up an escape route. Harry, meanwhile, is realizing he has nothing left, so now he wants back in.
No, and honestly, I have huge sympathy and empathy for what Charles is going through. I should clarify too, by the way, incurable cancer does not mean that you cannot live potentially for decades. We see that now. I know people personally who have had incurable cancer, and through the incredible medical interventions now available, are able to live a pretty long life. And we know Charles is intending to return to full-time duties next year as well. So we should clarify that.
Yeah.
But I would be so angry if William and Catherine were put in this position. They are planning a reign that does not feature Harry and Meghan at all. William doesn't even want Harry at his coronation. And Tash, I completely understand why, and I completely approve of that decision. And if Charles puts him in a situation where Harry and Meghan, or let's be more realistic about this, Harry on his own attempts to set up some sort of rival royal court, I just think it would be so bad for the royal family. Some people might disagree with me on this. I don't want Harry back. Even if Harry and Meghan divorce, I don't want Harry back. He's tried to bring down his own family. The royal family doesn't need him. Also, he's just a cringeworthy embarrassment these days. Look at the video with Jelly Roll, for example.
Yeah. That wasn't one of his finest moments, really, was it?
No, it was awful. But am I being unfair, Tash? Is there any world where you would welcome Harry back?
I think on a personal level, if he wants to make up with his family, then that is down to his family. That's where it ends between being the public's business. But to bring Harry back as a working royal, well, that is, as I said, it's a different kettle of fish completely. Harry is someone that, how could they trust him ever again. I mean, he's still leveling snide little attacks. There's still digs coming out. I mean, even recently, with more information coming out about one of his many, many court cases, he has again asked for emails to be provided from the royal household to back up his claims that there's a secret deal between the palace and the media again. So he is still making attacks on his family.
He's engaging in lawfare and warfare, PR warfare against the family. So, yeah, I mean, look, whoever this courtier is needs their head read. But all I'm saying, Tash, is there is a lot of this coming out. Tina Brown, the other week, wrote about the fact that once a new regime is in place and there are the new private secretaries in place, that might open the door. So, look, there's certainly some sort of PR move at the moment to try and make it palatable, the idea of Prince Harry returning. It's not palatable to me, but I'm just saying something is going on.
So what happens next? Will King Charles actually go through with this? If he does, folks, it would be the biggest mistake of his reign. The British public does not want them back. Prince William will not accept it. And the royal family cannot afford to let these two snakes slither back in. Because if they do, mark my words, there will be backlash. Charles risks alienating his supporters, losing public trust, and creating division within the monarchy. Meghan and Harry are a disaster waiting to happen. If they are allowed back, it's only a matter of time before another betrayal. And let's be real, Meghan Markle doesn't want back into royal life. She wants the power, the status, the money, but she does not want to actually serve. That's why this can never work. If you think Harry and Meghan should never be allowed back into the royal family, hit that like button, share and subscribe for more. Should King Charles let them return, or would it be the biggest mistake of his reign? Let me know what you think.